need a little bit of team fight. I mean, Void and Clock can provide it, but it's a lot of single target at the moment, and well, there's some extra team
Another
fight.
new one.
Yeah.
Yes. We still don't exactly know how these lanes are going to be set up, so I like this from Elephant. You know, people might say, oh, it's clearly a Clock 4, but they don't have the Darkseer paired together with it, so it's not as strong as it could potentially be. Yes, you do want to enable the roaming against the Lina, of course, in the super early game, but you know, you're not going to have hookshot before Lina has a lot of her at least base survivability. So around the 10-minute mark, of course, you could look to see Clockwork rotate around that siege creep. What I want to see is Elephant pick something that's able to take advantage of the fact that if they are able to to get a kill on this mid laner that is shoving out waves, once the lane shove is gone, are you actually going to take a tower after the fact? We can see that there's no Night Stalker, which of course at nighttime you do have that tower taking potential. Perhaps a Dragon Knight. I mean, it synergizes fairly well with the Grimstroke, even though it was nerfed. I think it could work totally fine.
Even the potential of a Doom getting picked up. I mean, we haven't seen a whole lot of that here. I think we even actually just saw it once, and that was yesterday. And oh, here we go. Lycan Gaming with a Pango as well.
I mean, Grimstroke at least is capable of dealing with a Lycan push somewhat. Not so much if he just ults and runs at you. That's the big weakness of the Grimstroke. I want to see him get a super early Ghost Scepter. It might mean that, I mean, depending on how they're looking to play it there on Aster.Aries, he might need to forego the Aether Lens instead and just go straight into the Ghost Scepter because it provides you with a lot of survivability. I mean, you're not going to get a Nullifier super early on as this Lycan hero.
And you take a look at the bans from Aster.Aries with how it's enabled their 16th and 17th pick. The Mars, the Tide, Medusa banned out, all heroes. Medusa at some stage is definitely able to stand at ground and protect towers, but in particular the position 3s that are very strong and have wave clear, and also for Elephant, they banned out the Bloodseeker, which would have just absolutely destroyed the lineup that Aster were looking to try and formulate a rollover style with the Lycan and the Pango. Just we've seen the Rupture completely topple those heroes. At least though, they pick up an incredibly strong position 1 who can come online early, can be really beefy and put himself in front of towers.
And can fight into the Lycan as well, right? Of course, you're not going to have the same level of maneuverability, of course, but it is still going to be rough with all the Greater Cleave being hit in onto all those units. And then, of course, there's no longer the risk of just tagging a Necrobook minion. That was always a little bit annoying, but I'm very happy that that's gone. And I was going to say forgotten, but let's never forget about it so we can never make the same mistakes of having another Necrobook-like item in the game.
So are you on board with Elephant here thinking that they're looking for a position 1 still? Because if that's the case, then this is probably an Earth Spirit 5 and a Pango 4 with the Lycan, or?
Never know. I mean, we've seen Pango 5 a few times in the European region. I think, did we see it once here? I don't think we did, so. But in C, it is something that they've done a few times, notably with Motivate Trust's roster. So they could still opt to do it. Again, the laning phase is quite nice. Wouldn't be an Earth Spirit mid, would it? Never know. They're picking a Wyvern, okay. This is odd. This is an odd draft, that's for sure. But, you know, Aster.Aries, I don't think they're at quite the memeing stage yet. Maybe if they lose this series, they could try a few new things out. But their lives are still on the line. 2 wins, and they are securing one of those lower bracket playoff spots. So the Wyvern pick, it's like, what does it do exactly? That's my big concern.
Well, it's very good versus Sven. Very, very good versus someone who's relying on all his physical damage. I mean, the Curse can kite him, the Cold Embrace for anyone. They don't have that much burst to go through the Cold Embrace as well on Elephant currently, so I can get behind.
You can fly out of the cogs, which is always nice. Pango can get out of it, Earth Spirit can, get out of it. So that's pretty good. Lycan very quickly can get out of it. Lina in much more danger. They're going to go with the Bristleback. I mean, it's good against a lot of this Zoo-style meta with... so it's going to be Ulu playing it, Baku playing position 4 Earth Spirit. It's going to be a off-lane Pango and a position 5 Wyman, huh?
Okay. They've got to end this game pretty fast on Aster.Aries. Saying that, Lina can go very well into the late game, but that's when Lycan really trails off. And I feel like Elephant overall with their heroes should scale much better compared to what the Lycan will be able to.
Sure. I mean, what they're going to be looking for is trying to get the the Sven on top of any other unit, basically. I think it's going to be very rare that Somnus is, unless they're somehow able to catch them out without being smoked with their group together. Yang, I don't think you're going to have the damage to be able to burst him through, even with a Winter's Curse. So, yeah, Somnus is going to be the main target for Siamese Cat here. And, of course, Life and Death on his Pangolier. He's going to need to be very mindful of his positioning because, again, it's one of these things where for whatever reason, the Chinese teams have picked a hero into one of its counters. The Grimstroke, of course, very good against the Pangolier, just locking him in position.
And usually I'd say that the Pango can actually kind of play accordingly into that matchup. You just have to take a different angle into the team fight and make sure you don't get leashed together with someone else with the Soulbind. The only issue with that now is that you've got a Lycan that's going to be running at the backline support, and more than likely the Earth Spirit's going to join you as well, which will make that avenue into the fight a little bit more difficult for Life and Death.
Yeah, so his positioning on the Grimstroke is going to be very important, right? You want to at least be able to get your ultimate off. If you can somehow leash together a Lycan and someone else, you've taken so much of that kill potential away from Aster.Aries. So you don't even need to grab the Pangolier a lot of the time, as long as you're preventing Lycan from doing his thing, especially if you're able to get him as he pops the shapeshift, really reducing the duration of that.
Well, how we feeling with this game one draft here for Aster.Aries? Of course, we've highlighted that this is an incredibly important day for them to potentially keep their hopes alive of making it into the playoffs. Do you feel like this game one can enable an upset over Elephant?
I think it can, but I do like. See, the thing is, like, Super, is he really going to want to rotate super early on? I guess he is. I mean, he's got the boots of speed and the tango, even though he's playing that position 5. So Eurus, if they're good on their harass in this off lane, it could cause him a little bit of grief. And maybe looking to leave that top lane a bit earlier than expected for this Elephant side. Because Super, he needs to make the rotation mid. They need to get kills onto this Phoenix Lina if they're not going to put themselves in danger of being run over.
Yeah, the issue is, though, is that we've seen a lot of these high caliber Chinese teams putting an immense amount of emphasis on ganking the position 2 at a very early stage. And a Grimstroke and Clockwork are heroes that can definitely enable a Void Spirit to find that pickoff. So it's all going to come down to the creep equilibrium, so it's obvious when the supports are making those rotations, the positioning on the wards. And speaking about the wards, I do believe Phoenix got one of the observer kills, so a little bit of extra experience for him to start the lane. We'll see how much that kind of plays a factor here.
Easy game.
Love to see it.
So are you going to have your eyes a little bit more on this mid lane, just seeing if Phoenix is able to do what outdo with Somnus? Like, D-Stones on his Void Spirit was able to come out of a multiple laning stages with an advantage.
Yeah, I'm that's what I'm looking to watch here. What I saw from D-Stones was that it looks like the first 2 waves, if you can get the creep under the tower and pick up level 2, then you can kind of start harassing with an Aether Remnant, and sometimes once you creep drag to the range, then you can have like 3 melees plus the Void Spirit himself right-clicking the Lina, and sometimes that can be enough of a harass damage to kind of offset how aggressive the Lina wants to play. But at the moment, we see that Somnus, he does have at least the equilibrium on the high ground, which is going to still make it very difficult for Lina. So this is a good spot for him at the moment from what I saw from D-Stones.
Not getting too many last hits, though, when he's standing underneath that tower. Trying to secure the range creeps as much as he can is Somnus. I think with how we saw D-Stones build his Void Spirit as well, he didn't have any points in the Dissimilate, which is really what you need if you're going for these lane shoving ideas, right? So that, you know, the lane might not be in your favor for now, but at least you've got the experience, and the lane is eventually going to shove right back into you.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of the Void Spirits put emphasis on putting more points in the Aether Remnant with the changes to it. I think even, I haven't actually been paying much attention to the level 10 talent, if they're also going for the Aether Remnant damage. I probably have to imagine they would be, but just the kind of value of life buffs for the Void Spirit. I mean, the pull duration is just increased by 0.2 seconds maxed out, and the mana cost is reduced by 10, which is, again, the value of life things that can make the hero just feel better to play out of some of the other position 2s.
I think it just depends on if you've got a strong rotating lineup. FY, he's going to be able to snipe away this water runes, so nice work done there by the position 4. They're not punishing Yang too much either. You know, Wyvern quite a weak laner, so Siamese Cat is not going to be able to enable any kind of kill potential against this Bristleback, who, yeah, look at him, he hasn't even need to put any points into his passive just yet. That's how confident he's feeling in this lane.
Yeah, often Wyvern with the Arctic Burn can be nice versus a really strong hero like the Bristle with just that % damage, but like Lycan just feels like he's a hero that kind of just trades in the lane. Like you've got an immense amount of sustain, you can CS really nicely because of your bonus damage with the wolves, but being able to find kills is definitely not the easiest play.
They're looking to trade a little bit here between the two of them. Siamese Cat not wanting to reveal the fact that he's got it sentryed up, but FY might want to know. And with that 4 seconds on the Inkswell, might catch him with the tip of that stun, but of course it's not going to be quite enough.
And I'm intrigued to see how this change to the Inkswell comes into play, because we saw it a little bit through one of the Southeast Asian tournaments before we started with I-League, and you know, Ponlo in particular, what was saying, he felt like it was a bug almost with how slow it took to get that Inkswell stun off. So maybe it could feel easier to set up with someone like a Void Spirit, or like a Sven at one stage might have a blink to get the jump in.
Going in on Yang here. It's already 5 stacks up onto Ulu, but yeah, again, no Bristleback built up yet, so that's going to get them the first blood on Siamese Cat.
Wow, that's a big one to pick up. I wasn't really expecting them to have the damage with only 1 point in the Arctic Burn, but beautifully played here from the boys on Aster.Aries, picking up first blood. Who got it? Was it? It was Siamese Cat.
I think they were just waiting for the Howl. They needed the little bit of extra armor reduction, so the greedy build is punished. You know, even just the single point into the Bristleback probably would have saved his life there.
You do take a look at how much emphasis, though, they're putting on securing the lane here for the Void Spirit. I mean, that is now both the water runes that the position 2 Lina hasn't been able to pick up at all. So just giving a little bit more emphasis on Somnus to have a better matchup here. And
just little bits of harass coming out as well. 3 points in the Aether Remnant,
wow.
Meaning that yeah, she needs to have a few more rotations come her way. You know, Baku there to refill the bottle onto Phoenix. Always going to be very helpful, but yeah, not exactly where you want to be. And what that means is that Eurus has a bit of an easier time on the top lane. You know, he's
Somnus
still top of the network.
He's in trouble, actually. Roll in, finds a connection, and with 3 points in the Dragon Slave is where the Void Spirit can get out harassed out of the lane. And in fact, this time they're picking up the kill and even gonna bring down Super. Phoenix is low on the mana, but with the roll in from Baku makes sure there is no retreat from the Clockwork.
Oh, very impressive for them to be able to get multiple kills this early on. I mean, we mentioned before how much emphasis they were giving on to securing the water runes, the bounty runes, to stopping some of these stacks coming through, but it's not worth all that much. FY, he hasn't even reached on to level 3 yet, so even falling at a little bit of an experience disadvantage compared to the other cores in the game.
And quite often through our previous matchups with the Void versus the Lina, he was the one getting level 6 first, and then having that rotation from a support and killing the Lina very early on with that level advantage. But for Phoenix, he's already hit the level 6, and with no mana, will still make the rotation back to the well. But that has been the big X factor with how the Void Spirits are kind of able to topple this rougher lane matchup.
Yeah, for sure. Now he's even got the boots of speed, so he's going to be able to maneuver out of the Aether Remnants a little easier. Another steal coming through there. Baku taking the Arcane Rune, which significantly hinders Somnus' ability to be able to make plays towards this top side of the map. And you know that's where he wants to be, right? You're against a pushing lineup. Tango might still be in trouble, although is it the Sven that's in trouble?
Looks like he might be. Got some assistance coming through as well from Siamese Cat. But Eurus does a very good job to sidestep the Splinter Blast, and our Somnus even looking to get involved as well. No more Astral Step charges available, so without the burst damage, they can't gap close on life and death, and our Somnus is going to be cautious of his positioning as Baku continuing the chase. The Arcane Rune will lower the cooldowns by a bit, but unfortunately it's just still a little bit too long here from the extra roll. Even Lina looking to get involved.
instantly looking to make a rotation elsewhere. He's got the one charge of the Astral Step available again.
Eurus still
Trying to get
eyes
the
on
kill
top.
in.
Oh, they just missed the LSA on Phoenix. So it could have been a very big kill to find. And all right, where's
Going on
Somnus?
to Ulu. They're prepping up some of these nasal goose stacks, trying to get him to take as
See
much
if you get
first
the
damage as
ultimate.
possible. They miss.
Even then, it's still funny how you can, if you just get shapeshift before the stun, like the animation still goes through. So
Yeah.
I don't know if they would have found that kill.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I don't know. He's got a lot of points in the Aether Remnant. I think they might have.
Nonetheless, though, this is a tier 1 tower that should be claimed. Unfortunately, they lost the catapult, but Bristle can bring it down with his warpath stacks, and even Somnus is going to help out as well. So this will start to open up the map and just make the bottom side a lot more safer for Eurus once he starts to kind of play around the triangle.
Yeah, I mean, that first shapeshift having to be used defensively is still a significant win for Elephant. They didn't get the kill from it, but
Radiant's
yeah,
bottom
tower
is
opened
under
up,
attack.
Sven
Radiant's
able to
bottom
play on the
tower
bottom
has
side of the
fallen.
map, and you would have to assume that the next use of it, you can see here, he's going into an armlet on this Lycan. Not into this zoo style of build either. With the power treads being picked up as well. A lot of the times when people play this Lycan, if they're just going the Helm of the Dominator, Helm of the Overlord build, they don't even bother with boots because they're really going to be getting active on the map around the
Dire's
timings
top
of their
tower
shapeshift.
is under attack.
Baku gonna try and make a kill attempt here onto Somnus. He's got the 2 Astral
Dire's
Step
middle
charges,
tower is under
and
attack.
finally has the point into the Dissimulate.
What do
I
you
feel like he felt a bit naked at those previous 2 Gag attempts where he didn't have that extra save potential.
What do you feel like is maybe the reasoning for Ulu going for this armlet? Is he thinking that he needs a way to scale into the late game, and instead of going for this Helm of the Overlord, which does feel like heavy committal on taking an immense amount of towers early on and then having that advantage?
I mean, it is heavy committal, but then why go the Lycan? You know, I feel like there
Yeah.
are better options that you can have to play around. One of the big advantages of having the Lycan and going the Helm of the Overlord build is that Howl is pretty big range. You can also have the Feral Impulse used on all of your units, so you're just able to deal a ton of damage while not even being there in the lane yourself. So
Somnus jumping mid. There's this Inkswell coming into play. Baku tries to kick him out of range, but at least that is further to the T1 tower safety there, and Somnus is going to think otherwise of trying to go deep. Also, we saw the stack getting claimed. It was actually Yang that took it. Are you on the same agreement with Elephant that Yang has the priority to take the stack?
I mean, I feel like Sven's lane just went well enough that they were happy to sacrifice a little bit more farm to Yang. You know, he still does need to be a bit more of that front liner. He needs to be chasing down supports Yang. Speaking of which, he's getting gone on a little bit here with that second shapeshift.
Well, let's see if the bonus net worth is going to keep him alive here with all these freshly picked up items. This Ulu's now stuck in the close. It's a beautiful hook shot in from Super, and there's no escape from this speedy Lycan, and is now Somnus looking to get involved as well. There's a gap close on Baku.
2 times now where a shapeshift's been completely useless. Almost no damage in onto that tower as well. You can see Eurus here, he's happy. He's just sitting down on the bottom side. He's got his Oblivion stuff ready to come out to him. Might wait until he's got the full Echo Saber, but yeah, good defensive rotations coming through. The other thing that the 4-second Inkswell pop allows is a little bit more of that setup potential, right? You could wait that extra half second to be able to land your hook shot, make sure you're getting the stun in after the land as well.
They might set up on Phoenix mid. Somnus is going to go, but he's got Baku behind him. Yeah, this Inkswell is really interesting. Like, we were speaking about it, I think, earlier in the group stage, just saying that if the regard to the hard dispel, like, it's going to take longer to get off, and sometimes that could cost you a hero, is Yang facing Phoenix at the moment. But yeah, the Inkswell, like, if you have the shot, it's going to take longer to pop. So then maybe it's not at a faster rate to keep someone alive that gets jumped. But it does give you more healing and maybe more time to find the angle in. As we see Somnus, he's found a perfect avenue straight on top of the Winter Wyvern. And even Yang is trying to bully back any other reinforcements to help Siamese Cat.
They're not positioning around this mid lane just yet, but if he's on point, Yang could potentially go through to the triangle and see that they have the Ancient stacked up the one time. So if you're able to take that away, that's just more and more farm that's going into Elephant's pocket. 12-minute mark, 3k net worth lead, could be more. I mean, Yang just feels very survivable right now, so close to being able to pick up his Foot of Defiance as well. Siamese Cat, he's getting run at. Doesn't even have the Arctic Burn-Off cooldown yet.
Top tower is under attack.
I was gonna say, he just TP'd into Yang. Oh man, it feels so rough. Like, I've had these games where I'm versing a Bristleback who's legitimately unkillable, and I'm asking myself, like, what the hell do I do? Like, we can't go on this guy, and we can't go on anyone else because of how they're positioning.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to need to be a pretty early Silver Edge rush coming through from Phoenix. Thankfully for him, it does synergize really well with exactly what Lina wants these days. But it does mean that his survivability is going to take a bit of a hit. Baku's going to need to be on point with kicking him away if he does get gone on by the likes of a Clockwork.
Dire are scanning.
The issue is for Aster.Aries is that this net worth lead is just continuing to accumulate. Like, Eurus, that was the first time he'd really shown up in the past 5 minutes. He, swung his mighty sword at the tier 1 tower and just back to farming, and he was getting a lot of space down bottom.
I think you're more than happy to show up, if it's for the potential of taking a tier 1 tower mid. They were feeling very strong at the time. Yang, of course, having picked up his key survivability items. So yeah, I'm totally on board with it. He's nearly hitting onto the level 12 as well with Eurus, so maybe they might wait for his Blink Dagger to come online, but if they've got their positioning right, their vision has expired now. Really only got it around where they're sitting anyway. But with that Blink Dagger, combo that in together with a God Strength, get a pick off, take Roche, and then take more objectives.
And for Aster.Aries, are you seeing any angle where they might be able to drag this net worth back into maybe their favor here? Like any items we're waiting for, or some level timings?
I mean, Ulu's going into an Echo Saber next on his Lycan, and again, like, what's the point of pick at the Lycan if this is what you want? It's not even like it synergizes together very well with an Earth Spirit or a Wyvern. He's going to TP back, and they might be going for a smoke here. It's not going to be under vision, so could be able to catch them out with the element of surprise, unless that Rocket Flare caught a glimpse of it happening.
I think it was just too late. Super is in exceptional positioning, though, to pop this smoke. He's well aware that the next play is going to come through of trying to angle towards the triangle. He might get close enough here to pop the Wyvern. See if he picks up the Invis.
Take the Invis
oh
room,
my
would he?
god, just get it! Super! Okay, they have a detection. Never mind.
Still, though.
Job done.
Pretty much a wasted rotation. Yep. I mean, again, both shapeshifts, useless. Sven, 3 levels ahead of your Lycan. No kills on the Lycan so far. It's just, everything's not going all so well, and I don't see the scaling when, compared with the likes of...
they're setting up on Yang mid. Man, he's so tanky.
Yeah.
And even Eurus is nearby just to amplify how tanky he is as well with the Warcry, and that shapeshift now wasted. I mean, they're still sticking around. Maybe they can go for a separate target as FY. Rolled on top of by the secret shop. They'll pierce him through with a Laguna Blade, but this is a block committed. Now with the shapeshift expiring, you see Yang is just full targeted Siamese Cat, and Eurus is going to reveal the Blink Dagger as well, and Ulu's going to be careful because now the shapeshift's expired. The Cogs lock him in. They have to kite the Rolling Thunder, which they're doing so at a decent rate at the moment, and now it offers them an opportunity to jump straight on top of Phoenix, as he'll end up falling down to the southern side. Eurus is solo killed off Ulu. The God's Strength, too much damage for the Lycan to handle at the moment, and it looks like that has enabled Elephant now to walk inside the Roche pit.
Yeah, you got that Viscous Nasal Goo, you got the God Strength, really good positioning coming out there from Eurus, making sure that, well, he didn't even need to wait until the Blink Dagger was available again. They just had a good understanding of the positioning of this Lycan, and able to clean it up pretty nicely. I don't get this. I don't get this Lycan pick at all. It just doesn't feel like it accomplishes anywhere near what they want, and I don't feel like the picks that came out after the Lycan on Elephant's side have done too much to stop it from doing exactly what it wants to do. You can still rat with it. Like, Clockwork doesn't clear very well. Bristle isn't amazing at it. Gonna make another attempt here. Pangolier is gonna be the one dropping down this time with the Igswell popping. Will he get away? Nope. It's gonna be the Phantom's Embrace that ends up claiming his life.
And FY is even going a very defensive build with this Ghost Scepter E-Blade worked on next. He's recognizing that the Lycan is going to be his big concern. Just
Yep, love it. That's like I said before. You don't need to go the Aetherlands this game. All you need to worry about on this Grimstroke is not dying and making sure you're there to be able to get your Soulbind off onto the Pangolier, and then suddenly all of the control that the Lycan needs to be able to focus down the target completely gone. So I love the fact that you went the Ghost Scepter first. E-Blade, it's a little keen because you've got a decent amount of physical damage on your lineup. It's really only going to be Somnus that's able to combo together with it, but who am I to question FY?
maybe we see a Dagon picked up next for the Void Spirit. Then there's a lot of burst with that E-Blade. Double in the fight, double Dagon as well.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
The potential, it's there.
Another TP rotation. No glyph. I don't think you can afford to have this popped, right? Because if you pop it, you lose the tower, you lose another team fight. That's Rax. You know, you're against a Sven. He's got so much capability from being able to take down these towers with the use of the Mask of Madness and the Echo Saber.
Smoked up. They're gonna run into Eurus here. BKB has been completed. He just found it off the chorus, so instantly he's gonna pop up with the God Strength and look to turn and man fight his Baku. He's coming to the wrong neighborhood as the rest of Elephant are looking to try and protect their triangle camp as well. As Eurus still hasn't cleaned him off just yet. A blink on forward should be able to do the dirty work, however, but he's still looking to man fight. A curse, lock him in place. Meanwhile, they have finally dealt with the back line. So a decent start here from Aster.Aries, but unfortunately for Phoenix, he's jumped instantly from Somnus. Is the retreat going to be an option here as Super is trying to find the angle with the hook shot? Another Astral Set locks him in. There's no opportunity, and now Life and Death's in trouble as well. Recognizing there's no escape, it's just time to waste as much time as possible.
Yeah, you can hit that 3-man shield crash, but if it's next to a Sven that's got this much farm, I don't think it's going to matter all that much. As poor Super buys back, was looking constantly for the angle of the hook shot, but the boys, they were just blocking it off. They wanted the kills. They didn't want to give it over to this position 5.
What was a decent? I mean, they mis-executed the kill on the Sven. Pretty unlucky that he just completed BKB, but
yeah,
they did very well to target down FY with the Lycan and then get a really good Winter's Curse with the Sven beating onto the Clockwork.
But again, it was just taking out supports, right? Like, did it really matter in the big stage? I feel like you need to try and catch together Somnus with the Sven, and it's just very rarely going to happen.
Yeah, and
not that they don't like each other, but Eurus and Somnus, they're very rarely next to each other.
And in the scheme of things, like reading how they win fights is off the back of the Lycan shapeshift. You've got 28 seconds to win a fight, and once that expires, once you kite them through that, it's sound the retreat. You've got to get out of dodge.
Just comparing the way that Ulu's playing this, Super was pump faking the hook shot a little bit there. They've got good vision over on Phoenix here. He might have actually seen the fact that they were going for the hook shot, considering it was daytime. But yeah, you just compare this Lycan gameplay with his Bloodseeker, right? It's just completely different, and it's a hyper-aggressive hero versus one that, I mean, Lycan wants to get aggressive, but he's just sitting back and farming against a Sven, who is 6 levels above you.
Yeah, I'm like you've been saying a couple times. What's the point of picking the Lycan if you're not going into that build? As Eurus solo kills off Life and Death with the reveal of the Orchid here. I'm
liking Yang's item build as well, going for the Aghanim Scepter after all of that survivability.
Baku rolled in, they'll miss the hook. Somnus should be able to catch up to the Phoenix, however. So still getting a kill.
Chasing Baku.
Yang doesn't give a damn about no towers. How beefy the Bristleback is, and with the Aghanims picked up, his damage just continuing to skyrocket. Now, meanwhile, down bot, Eurus is solo, but he's looking to try and man-fight Ulu, and, well, he'll be able to do so successfully.
You don't give a crap, he's totally fine. He's got the regen as well coming through from the lifesteal, and yeah, that's about expected. Nothing about this game went well for Aster.Aries. I thought the itemization on Elephant's Heroes was great. I thought the movement was good. I thought the laning stage went fine in the mid lane, but for the other ones, I just what was the point of the Lycan if you're not going to go this full rat build? That's the strength of the hero right now, and I mean they picked into this. They made the decision to put this Lycan into the position 1 role. They didn't rotate to support him when he got ganked early on. First 2 shapeshifts completely useless. Third, only getting supports. It's just not enough.
And it was beautiful to see how Elephant was able to enable Eurus as well. They put a lot of emphasis, the supports in particular, on just securing their cores early game. Like we saw the consistent rotations from FY to enable Summoners to get multiple of the water runes. He was making sure there were stacks. And in fact, Yang was the one to pick up that big ancient stack. And I see the reasoning why now, because Yang's just going to make so much space for Eurus to be able to free farm. Like if you get to a stage where you can kill the bristle, then your whole map kind of starts to crumble because there's no structure that stops Aster from going to where the Sven wants to farm. And we really saw it this game, like with how they were positioning across the map as well. And the one time where they looked to smoke up and head to the triangle, well, super. He was already there, popped the smoke, perfect positioning. And it just feels like these, like, the caliber of these high level Chinese teams we've been harping on VG Gaming support duo, DY and PYW, you've got to bring up on how well FY and Super played this game as well. Like KDA wise, nothing too crazy, but how they enabled Elephant to take the game was phenomenal. And with that being said,
it was nothing flashy for Elephant. It was just totally stable. They just did they made a lot of little decisions correctly that added up. And Yang, I thought he itemized perfectly for this as well. I don't think you could ask for much more. He probably had a Lotus Orb flying out to himself as well, considering how well his early game went. But yep, it's always this weird decision, right? If you're coming up against a Bristleback, you got the Hood, you got the Vanguard, and then you're just like, well, let's just not hit him. But then he was like, you know what? I'm going to get an Ag Scepter, so you have to hit me. Otherwise, all of Lycan's units, useless. And the rest of your team's just going to die and get slowed before these BKBs are up on your end. And they decided to GG up before we even got to see the full impact of it. So, yeah, very comfortable win for Elephant. But Aster.Aries, I think, I don't want to say the blame, but more of the reasoning can be put onto them with how they decided to set out their draft.
Unfortunately for Aster.Aries, still their hopes of potentially making it to the playoffs are not eliminated just yet, but they're going to have to do it the hard way now with one game down in this first series. Unfortunately, Ulu had the second lowest DPS in the entirety of that game. So, we saw what he could do on his Bloodseeker previously. He popped off on that hero, and we'll see if Aster.Aries can enable the cause like Elephant did so eloquently in this game 1. But only time will tell when we come back from a break. It's time to find out.